And just like that, we have 10 billion cookies to spend. Also, 3 sugar lumps. I think I'm going to start by trying to get my temple up to level 25. And that's going to take us from 1.64 million cookies per second all the way up to 2,100,000. So that's like a 25% increase already. And then since we've done that, let's make grandmas twice as efficient and temples gain plus 1% CPS per 5 grandmas. That had a 300,000 increase. And while we're at it, let's just go ahead and add a shipment for 5.1 billion. That put us up another 300,000. So in the first 30 seconds since we started, we've doubled our cookies per second. So we're definitely making cookies at a pretty good rate. But it's never good enough, so we're going to add 2 more wizard towers. And that's going to increase us by about 120,000 per second. Whoa, those get expensive quickly. But we should have enough right now. Now, I don't know a lot about the sugar lumps, but I think what we're going to do is level up our temples. This unlocks a mini game and maybe also ups their earnings. I don't think that changed the earnings of it, but it did make the Pantheon, which means we can worship different things which have pretty good effects. And I don't know if this is a good idea, but we're going to start with this for 15% base CPS. Then I'm going to put this one on the end. Milk is 3% more powerful, but golden and wrath cookies appear 5% less. I feel like that's a decent balance. Kinda wish I knew more about what some of these things mean. So maybe we'll throw Jeremy in the middle. Buildings produce 6% more, golden and wrath cookies appear 6% less, whatever. That put us up to 3.4 million per second. That one didn't stick. Oh, I think because I swapped it earlier, I'm not allowed to do that again without spending more, so whatever, that's a pretty big waste, but we're up to 3.35 million. And we're at about 69,000 per click, which is hilarious. If I spend 500 million with this, that takes it up to 100,000 per click. And grandmas currently produce 2.4% of total CPS, so let's double their value, which is going to bring them up to 4.7%. Then I'm just going to spend a little bit more on banks. We're at 3.5 million cookies per second plus the clicks. So I'm probably just going to let this go for a little while after upgrading, whatever that. And then we're just going to build up some money, because in order to prestige to the next level, we need 981 billion more cookies. I didn't really realize how fast we'd earn another billion cookies, so let's upgrade the wizard tower twice since we can. That added a huge amount. Also, while we're at it, let's upgrade, say, the bank. That's going to give us a stock market, which we can do something with. This is maybe a little more confusing than I thought it was going to be. So to start, let's simply buy one of these because the price is down. Hopefully it will go up. And we had a cookie show up already. Cookie production times 7 for a little over a minute. So we're going to close this for now and simply take advantage of these earnings. We're making 22 million per second, so we're just going to click through it. That left us with about 3.7 billion cookies. Kind of wish I saw this before I clicked that cookie because they appear twice as often and stay twice as long. I'd probably still be in the bonus. So at least at a glance, it looks like this has increased in value somewhat. And whatever this one is, sugar, has big swings up and down. So let's buy, I don't know, 100 sugars. Is that expensive? This is going to cost 1.3 billion, so let's do it. So then my chocolate has worked though. I bought one, and if I sell it now, I'll get an extra 75 million. So we'll take that profit for now. We got to wait for this sugar to come back. While we're waiting, I'm going to go back to clicking. I don't know when it's going to peak again. I'll keep half an eye on it. So I just checked back to sugar. It looks like it's dropped even further. So I'm going to be smart and do what any good investor would and buy every last bit of it in the hopes that it's going to come back up. That was some billions in cookies. And it's continuing to go down. It'll probably come back eventually. It doesn't matter. We can earn that back in no time. I do think it's kind of funny that I picked basically the only thing that's lost money so far. Anyways, I've got another golden cookie already. Oh, that's good. It didn't give me super many. But before I do have another one of those stupid things show up, I'm going to buy this. Now, if I do see a cookie, it's going to stick around longer and it's going to last longer once I click it. Next, I think we're going to upgrade the wizard's tower into whatever it turns into. So this means we can use up some of our magical energy to cast some of these spells. And since I only can afford a few, let's try this. Summon half an hour worth of your CPS. If it backfires, we're going to lose 15 minutes. So I think that backfired. We don't have very good luck today. So let's try Gambler's Fever Dream because we've got to get lucky. Cast a random... Oh. So our cookie production is halved for 15 minutes, and surely the stock market is making a comeback, so we might actually make a bit of money eventually. Yeah, I'll come back in like an hour and a half and hopefully things are looking better. So more good news. My stock is actually dropped so much it's going past the other stocks. That's how bad it's doing. Oh good, a golden cookie though. This will last for twice as long, so that's kind of going to help me get back in a good spot. That brought us up to 4.3 billion, which is about as much as we have tied up in the stocks, so we're going to be okay. Another golden cookie, which gave me about 1 billion. Stock update. Sugar has overtaken even cereals as the lowest on the board, despite the fact it is a stock. And it ticked downwards again. Any worse and we're going to end up on Wall Street bets. Anyways, now that we've saved up 10 billion cookies again, we're going to double the output of our temples, which currently give us 40% of our income. So doing that is going to bump them way up. We're now making 4.5 million cookies. We basically just had a 50% increase. Next, I'm going to buy these 2 cookie upgrades because I'm tired of looking at them. That's going to be $1 billion and give us a slight increase. Next, we can spend $600 million to make mines twice as efficient. That takes us from 4.66 to 4.71, which wasn't a ton, but we can upgrade the little guys also. And that gave me an achievement, which also boosts my CPS. I'm learning now that different stocks are actually tied to different buildings. The sugar I bought is tied to banks. So what we're going to do is spend $1 billion more on sugar, or as much as we possibly can. Then we're going to upgrade the banks to hopefully bring it up. So let's spend $1 billion on banks, which isn't a ton of upgrades, but we'll get some more. While I'm at it, since this stock is only $13, we're going to buy as much of that as we can, which is only 4 of them, but that will add up to value over time, hopefully. I also wanted to get an idea of how much it would cost to get farms up to level 100. So 10 levels cost 200 million, another 10 costs just about $1 billion. So it's probably going to be $10 billion to get that up higher. And in what's probably going to be the first smart thing I've done in quite a while, we're going to get 10 Wizard Tower upgrades. That's going to take me from 4.95 million to 5.6 million, almost a full extra million cookies per second. So my magic thing came back, so we're going to try this again. Summon half an hour worth of your CPS. This has a 15% chance to backfire, but it actually worked. Oh, I should have read more about the part it's capped at 15% of your cookie zone, because that wasn't worth a ton. But it was the first successful thing we've done in a while. Now that I have 3.5 billion cookies, we can actually double the efficiency of Wizard Towers, and that's going to add basically another million cookies per second. This is a new power up. I'm now getting 155 million per click, so we're actually making tens of billions of cookies. That ran out just there, but that was 65 billion cookies to spend suddenly. So that's going to make a pretty big difference overall. So for Wizard Towers, we can actually just straight up upgrade them again for 16.5, so that brings us up to 8.4 million cookies per second. We're going to get the cat upgrade because apparently this is a good one. I don't really know. Yeah, that actually added 1.5 million per second by itself as well. Should we try the Grandma upgrade? Grandmas are twice as efficient, but the Wizard Towers get plus 1% per 6 Grandmas. Yeah, that added almost a million by itself. That's not bad. So let's add a few more Wizard Towers for sure, just because that's easy upgrades. Then I guess I'm going to buy a few shipments because they had 450,000 per click. So they're actually pretty close to what the Wizard Tower does cost-wise. And I guess with our remaining $3 billion, we're just going to spend it on temples, then banks, and it's going to be a trickle-down effect. And we're out of money. But we're now up to 14 million cookies per second plus the clicking. And now it's time to spend $8.765 billion upgrading banks past level 50. And that gave me a new achievement, so that boosted me up to 14.3 million cookies per second. And there was some kind of boost there. I didn't entirely see what it was, but we're getting 101 million cookies per minute plus 3 on the clicks. And that brought us up to about $7 billion. So using that $8 billion-ish, we're going to upgrade the temple at least a few times because that's a better cost. So we're up to about 15 million cookies per second. We started at about 1.5, so we're at 10 times our income already. And now that I look at it, I realize that farms could probably get to level 100 with like $5 billion. Is that accurate? 10 levels of farm is worth 3 billion. Yeah, it's going to be 5, 6, 7 million. So there's 10 farms for 3.2 billion. Then we just need to buy another 5, which is going to be another $3 billion or so. Once I hit level 100, I think I'll get at least one achievement, which hopefully makes it worth it. Although thinking about it kind of makes me think not, because I'm about to spend $3 billion on 3 levels of farm. That's not great. But since we're committed, we're going to go for it anyway. These 3 levels are going to bring us from about 15 million to 15.1 million. Not even close. In slightly brighter news, the stocks that I own are going slightly upwards finally. But we're going to leave them to grow for quite a while longer. Saved up another 18 billion cookies. I'm going to try this spell again, so hopefully we're about to get a big amount. It's like a 1 in 7 chance we're going to fail, so I should be able to do this again because I have the points for it. Yep, there we go. That put us up to 24 billion. Up to about $41.5 billion now, so I think we're going to try and get the Wizard Tower to level 25. Then we should be able to double its earnings again, which should be considerable. So if we spend all of our money, that's going to take us from 15 point whatever million to 17.5 million per second. Okay, there's level 25 for the Wizard Tower, 17.8 billion. That should give us a very expensive upgrade for only 165 billion, but we can get there. If I'm reading this correctly, that should double it. That should add about 9.5 million CPS per second. That would be a 50% increase, which actually looks like it's worth it for the cost. Unfortunately, I wasn't watching the stock market very closely because my sugar stocks actually had a pretty big spike at one point, but we lost it. So as we're sitting here clicking past 23 million cookies, I just happened to glance at the stock market. Sugar went up 110%. So I'm kind of tempted to sell. That would at least make some of our money back that we lost earlier. Instead, let's ride it out, and it dropped 7%. So it's staying higher though. It might continually go up from here. All right, it's continuing to drop once again. So I'm just going to go ahead and sell it all. We're going to get $7.5 billion out of that, and now the price is probably going to skyrocket. But now I can keep an eye on it. And if the price drops way low again, we're going to buy there and to sell on any little uptick for easy money. Then if we increase our cookie production by 2%, that wasn't as big as I thought it would be. That's debatably worth it. It costs $5 billion, but everything costs $5 billion these days. Here's something wildly dangerous we won't really be able to resist. Summon a random golden cookie. Each existing golden cookie makes a spell 15% more likely to backfire. Well, do we get a golden cookie? I don't see one. Did we? Oh, wait, there it is. Oh, super clicks. This is going to be big money. Yeah, there's 10 billion, another 10 billion, another 10 billion. This was a good cookie. I'm happy I got this. Now we're up over 180 billion. There's 200 billion, and it's done. 216 billion cookies though. So the first thing we're going to do is make our wizard tower twice as efficient. That's going to take us from 18.2 to 27.5. That added 50% earnings. Another golden cookie happened to show up. There's 8.8 billion cookies. That's nice. We're also going to buy a broker. That basically means it's cheaper to buy stocks. Then we can actually max out our sugar holdings for only 6.7 billion. So we're definitely going to do that because that price is about as low as we've seen. So if that goes up, we'll make a lot of money. 6.7 billion isn't that much anymore. Okay, good news. Sugar just jumped 177%. So if I wanted to sell this all right now, I could get $16 billion out of it. So about 2.5 times what I just invested. And I think we're going to do that because that's easy money one way or another. Hopefully the price of that comes back down and we can do that again. So we're just passing 54 billion cookies. The price of sugar went down 2%, so we'll see which way it goes from here. Sugar is down another 2%, so I think it's going to slowly decline like it has been. We're going to take care of this cookie frenzy right away to take as much money as we can out of this. Before we click too many times here, let's upgrade our shipments as many times as we can, spending all that money because I think we're about to make it back. I mean, we are making 211 million cookies a second without the clicking. That's a billion cookies every 5 seconds. The sugar stock just jumped another 72%, which makes me think it's going to continue to climb. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy at the peak, being really smart, for $29 billion. I can always sell that if it crashes really hard. Basically, I'll hold that until it makes money. If that takes a long time, so be it. Another golden cookie has shown up. That's going to give me lots of extra earnings. Just past the $51 billion mark, and that means I can make shipments twice as effective. That's going to take us from 30 million cookies per second to 34 million cookies per second. Little over a 10% increase. At this point, it is still worth it to upgrade the temple because it's roughly one wizard upgrade, which is roughly one shipment upgrade anyway, so I might as well give that a few clicks. Found another fortune cookie, so we have 7 times earnings for a minute. So we're making 35 million cookies a second, but our sugar stocks are still continuing to rise. They just went up another 30-something%. If they continue on like that, we'll actually make a lot of money within a few short minutes. Plus, let's once again do something risky and click this, so we get half an hour worth of our CPS, which is great. I'm not sure what that actually awarded us. Oh, 9 billion cookies plus an achievement. Next, I think we should try and get the temple to level 50 because we should be able to double it again from there, and that's going to earn us lots. Like adding another 10 levels here, added us another million here, which isn't as good as I thought. But the things I think about usually aren't as good as I hope they'll be because I don't really plan, I just click on things. I really should just be putting my money into things like wizard towers because that by itself is going to add almost a million. So sugar stock just went up another 43%, so if I were to sell now, I would get $43 billion for it, so we're into the profit again. Hopefully it continues upwards. So after taking a little break, we're up to 130 billion cookies. Our sugar price has once again peaked and crashed all the way back down to nothing. But we're going to take a little gamble here and pay for it. That kind of hurt. That cost us about 20 billion cookies. Oh, but we can actually get them right back, can't we? There's 16 billion back and we got 2 achievements out of that deal. Well, since we have this kind of money, let's maybe buy an alchemy lab, and I'm hoping it's worth way more than a shipment. So these are worth 1.5 million cookies per second each, which is only 3 shipments, which is 45 billion compared to now 86. So shipments are still way more worth it. So for the time being, we're just going to buy a couple more of these because we can. Even then, we're running out of money very quickly because everything is so stupidly expensive right now. But we're going to buy one final shipment and leave it again for a bit. We're at 21.4 million with our curse. Now that my curse is almost done, the clot, let's do it again and hopefully not get that result. So we made a little bit back. We got 5.6 billion out of that plus some achievements. All right, now that my little curse is over, I think we're going to try and get the temple to level 50 because then we can double its value, which is going to give us some millions. Not entirely sure if that's going to be worth it, but I'm not going to put any more thought into it. Plus, right now, it's really not that hard to recoup costs considering we're making 44 million cookies per second, plus the clicking, which adds many millions. Plus that stock market, which one day will pay out. I should probably start buying butter because it's had a long red streak. Anyways, Hillyer's Temple level 50, we get an achievement, the milk change color, which is interesting. Okay, now for the temple upgrade I was hoping for, we only need $1 trillion. But I'm going to start buying some butter, which I apparently already own 10 in, so I maybe should have sold up here when it was considerably higher, but we can buy some now. It currently costs $1.4 billion per share essentially, so we'll buy a few. And I just got a cookie multiplier, so we're gonna ride this all the way through. Alright, the bonus is done. We're at about 50 billion cookies. Feel like I should buy a little more butter because I feel like it's gonna go up. We'll give it some time to let it grow. Then for now, I'm probably just gonna continue upgrading either the wizard tower or shipment. The wizard tower adds almost as much value for about half the cost still, so we're gonna stick to it for a few clicks. I didn't really realize this, but we only need another 72 billion cookies to be able to prestige. And that's really only about double the amount we have right now. So let's take another risk and hit this. This is going to cost 12 magic points. And that got us more. We've just got a big boost of cookies. And now we only need another 59 billion. So we're going to buy a few more wizard towers. That many. That puts us up to just under 50 million cookies per second. Do you think it counts if we sell the stocks? If we sell all of the sugar right now, we'll get 37 billion, which I think is actually a profit. But apparently that doesn't work towards that. And that actually makes sense. Because if it did, you could just buy and sell stocks even for a break-even price and it would add to your earnings. So let's click the golden cookie. That gave us 9 billion cookies. We're going to buy a few more shipments with that kind of money. And now we're over 51 million cookies per second. Actually, I'm pretty sure that once we prestige, we don't get to keep our stocks. I don't know for sure, but we're going to sell them all anyway just because I can turn those into easy upgrades right now. These are worth 24 billion, which means we can upgrade shipment only once because things are expensive. We just got a 7 times cookie bonus, so that's easily going to give us enough to prestige. And we got an achievement for Galactic Bakery. It said my cookies will be converted into something else. I might as well run out this bonus to hopefully turn more of those into whatever those things are. So I'm going to keep my achievements, building level, and sugar lumps. And then we're going to watch the cookie universe implode, and then we get to start again, but we get to spend these. So we basically just unlocked this menu. I think we need to keep going to prestige again to be able to unlock any more of this, but a 10% increase would be pretty good. So we're going to go back to where we started, but this time it's going to go quicker because we have like 8 more achievements. But to start, it's simply 1 click for 1 cookie. But as soon as we touch this, unlocks 5% of the potential of your prestige level, so now when we click we still get 1. But we can start doing things like adding the cursors, which are going to auto click for us. So I'm just going to work my way through like I did before. We're going to start buying grandmas as soon as we can. We're already up to 3 cookies per second. It's probably a little bit hard to tell, but this is going considerably quicker because we can already unlock a farm as of, well, 10 seconds from now, which puts us into double digits. And here's another piece of our prestige level, unlocks 25% of the potential. So we go ahead and click on that. As it's been more than a couple minutes, we're already up to 50 cookies per second, and that's going to keep growing quite quickly. I've just unlocked the first mine, which put us from about 100 to 142 cookies per second, so progress is going very quick. What I really need is to upgrade my clicker because it's only giving me 4 cookies per second. That's not good enough. So this might also help. I think that's going to give me 8 cookies per second. Yeah, that's a big difference. Then the next cursor upgrade is $100,000, but then it scales with my cookies per second, so I want that pretty badly. I think this is where things are going to start to escalate because there's 50,000. We can buy the extra click. That takes us from 8 to 12, so we're making 50% more per click, and that's going to go up quickly. Yeah, we're making money way faster. Wow, look at that. It's another game that actually goes better when I'm not paying attention to it. Anyways, I saved up almost 4 million cookies because I stepped away, so we're going to buy a factory and a bank, and that's going to put us up to 2100 per second. And that brought back my stock market, and look at butter go. And since I have $2.5 million left over, I'm going to buy up here, including the Heavenly Bakery, for $111,000, unlocks 50% of the potential of your prestige level. And then also sugar gas, playing cookies for an entire million, and we can't quite get sturdier conveyor belts, but we will soon. But before that, we're going to buy more factories because he's at 266 cookies per second each. So that put us up to 4,000. A few upgrades later, including 1 more for the bank, and we're up to about 10,000 cookies a second already. Cruised my way all the way up to 10 million cookies, making 30,000 per second, but I want to see what the kitten helpers do at this point because they gain more CPS with the more achievements I've done. So clicking on that, gave me about a 20% increase. I was hoping for more, but a 20% increase is pretty big. After buying just 2 more banks, we're back up to 50,000 cookies per second. And the stock market had actually been treating me pretty well. We've turned, I don't know how much money. Whoops, didn't mean to auto something. Forgot my auto clicker was on. We did just make some millions of dollars. We could have sold here, but accidentally sold here. Whatever the case, we made millions. Just had another little bonus, so we're up to 55 million. That can definitely afford us some nice things, like making banks twice as efficient. That's going to take us from 51 up to 60 all by itself. Also, we're going to click on this. That makes 75% of my prestige. Then we're going to spend a few more $1 million on banks for sure. Then it's worth it to go back to factories to buy a few of them because the ratio is worth it. That puts us up to 85,000 cookies per second. And I think we probably made enough now to buy our first temple again for $20 million. That puts us up to 95,000 cookies per second. But it's definitely still a cheaper upgrade for now to buy 3 banks instead of a temple, because you get more earnings for less money. And that puts us back up to over 100,000 cookies per second. And that just decided to show for another 200,000 cookies, which isn't much. But so far in total, we've mined 1.033 trillion cookies, and that's good enough for now. I'm gonna let this run for 7 days and we'll try it again.